Okay. Have you been watching the MJ doc?
Oh yeah, of course.
Good. So
Um,
good.
oh my gosh, I just so fired up.
Well, is that your goat?
Oh yeah, not even close. Not even close.
What have been some of the takeaways from the doc that you've been thinking about?
Just his competitiveness, um, and how much that drives, and I feel like I used to have quite a bit of it in me, and then like I don't know how that just because it's hoops is over essentially. Like what can you apply that to in all other parts of your life? Like to think of business wise and as a coach, like that competitiveness is just everything.
Mm.
And my wife just laughs. Dominic just laughs at me because she could just see me getting all fired up on the couch and yeah, no.
Yeah, the first episode or the first Sunday when the two episodes were over, I like was burning inside to go do something
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah, yeah. Well, you text me, so we're
Yeah.
texting about it, like
Yeah.
all
The
fired up.
the thing that I keep getting drawn to from this is, decades later, he still just looks so athletic.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been like, 20, 30 years. Well, no, let's see, 20, yeah, 30 years since he started. And, um, I mean, he could pass today's game, no problem.
oh yeah. And it's like he didn't lift weights until the Pistons. He's like, I don't even lift weights. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
He's
But yeah,
amazing.
no, that guy I just laugh because like some of the stories he tells, and his competitive just comes out. Even him then sitting in that chair, and I just laugh because
Yeah. Yeah. To this
yeah.
day, he still has grudges and holds
Oh
on to
yeah,
them strongly.
Isaiah Thomas thing. Oh my gosh, I was laughing. He's like,
What do you
I
think
don't
of?
need to see it. I don't need to see it.
I already know what he's gonna say.
Yeah, and then he did, and he's like, see,
What do you think of the Rodman stuff?
Robin's awesome, man. I did you watch the 30 for 30 before that?
I can't remember. I may have.
You gotta watch that because I mean it's crazy. His story is nuts. I mean, it's Scottie Pippen's too, but um, talk about like the most unselfish guy ever. You know what I mean? Like rebounding, defense, and just saw what he needed to do to be successful. And Jordan even said it like he has it. You know what I mean? Like go partying for 3 days and then come back and beat everybody in sprints. Like
Yeah.
just not human, like at
Yeah.
all. And
It's
just didn't care about scoring. Like I just can you imagine that like nowadays where this guy didn't care about anything but playing defense and rebounding.
Yeah, 0 point,
Unreal,
like 25 boards.
unreal. So no, I obviously he is an interesting fella, but him on the court, you got to respect it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. The part that was interesting to me is, when he requested to have that little vacation in the middle of the season, and MJ being as competitive as he is, he was able to almost put his competitiveness aside and say, like,
Hmm.
I know this is going to make us better afterwards, so
Hmm.
like we're just going to let him go do this thing. I think me as a teammate, I would have struggled with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, he has a lot of those kind of moments where he's kind of understands the importance of certain things. He was like, granted, I watched Jordan forever, and the way he carried himself, even with the media and whatnot, and how I think people spoke a little more carefully back then than they do today, but he just presented himself pretty well.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, no, it's interesting that kind of stuff comes out. He might have been kind of one of those guys as a teammate who was tough to play with, but I mean, at the same
for
time, he made you a lot better.
Yeah, and I think once you get into the pros, I'm sure you run into situations that are more similar to that than I faced in high school or college, where
Oh yeah.
you're a pro, so
Yeah.
the games
I think
matter.
I think what Jordan realized though is like you said, like he'd come and just beat everybody in sprints at practice. Like it just didn't really matter. He just needed him there to do his job. So
Mm,
that helped him do his job or gave him that release so he didn't quit overall,
mm,
do what he had to do.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited. I think the next episode is Kobe related.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of around the Kobe story, so I'm interested to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you take us back? You mentioned Roosevelt's birthday was recent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back to when you met Roosevelt and how that relationship started and what he was to you and what maybe he still means to you?
It was my Roosevelt's birthday Sunday, but Roosevelt Smith
Oh,
Jr.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, you're Roosevelt.
my Roosevelt. Yeah, so
How old is your Roosevelt?
my Roosevelt just turned 2.
Okay, well he has the namesake, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, Roosevelt Smith Jr. So the Rose story. Rose, you probably knew him too when you were playing in the YMCA. He ran the leagues. So I always remember him from that, but probably more specifically when he started working out my brother. So I don't know if you know my brother's story at all, but my brother's got a pretty crazy, inspiring story to me at least. Cut seventh grade year, sixth grade year, or sorry, seventh grade year, eighth grade year, ninth grade. Works out with Rose and makes the team his sophomore year.
How did they
Um,
even get connected?
through like the YMCA and stuff. My dad, he coached, so he would communicate with Rose and whatnot, like through just coaching our teams.
Hmm.
And I think I don't know, Rose is a talker, so I'm sure him and my dad struck up a conversation at some point and said, Rose offered to train my brother. And I just remember my brother like running around the lake like constantly with Rose, like come home his face just like filthy, dirty, and just yeah, how much better he got. It was ridiculous. It was like in the summer, and then so JD made the sophomore team. He made JV, but wasn't really playing. And then he continued to work out with Rose, and then he transferred to RA Long and scored like 12 points a game and shot 50% from three. And his his example there was like huge for me. Rose's. And then Rose worked out my sister as well. But I started working out with Rose. As soon as I saw my brother get a lot better, I was always interested in it. So I worked out with him on and off and whatnot. But I didn't really buy in until like my sophomore year when I didn't start out the year as well. I was playing varsity and whatnot, but I didn't start out the year as well as I would have hoped. And I was like scoring maybe 6, 7, 8 points a game, but I was shooting awful. And we had a break, and I went and worked out with Rose for a week and came back the next game against Centralia at Centralia and scored 32 points. And I was like, what? That's what you got to do? That's it? So I was hooked. And yeah, worked out with Rose every day that I possibly could until I stopped playing. So
What did Rose do that was different than other coaches? Like what clicked?
well, I don't know. There wasn't many people working on skill set stuff back then, So Rose was like really ahead of his time in that way. So it was shooting, footwork, Mikins, really simple ball handling stuff. But he just has a unique perspective, and then he just like has filing cabinets of basketball drills in his garage. Like just someone will drop a scouting report, he picks it up and files it away. Like he's just different like that.
Yeah.
Watches games till like 3 in the morning at home. Like so the way he thinks about things is just a lot different than everybody else, and he'd come up with drills and really complete drills. Right, I was doing post workouts. I was doing everything with Rose. So um, yeah, he's just different. And then the same with shooting form stuff. He helped me with that too as well. So
So you were going to Rose every morning, like literally 5 days a week, or?
after my sophomore year, yeah, I worked out with Rose pretty much every morning, 6 in the morning. I think it was actually 5:45 when I'd show up and then work out till I had to get to school. So like 5 days a week for yeah, I just got more and more hooked. So
I mean, the exponential growth during that time because you're getting two practices a day almost, versus
yep,
everyone else is getting one. Um, do you think you could have reached the levels you did if you hadn't have done those?
absolutely not even close. Not even close. I think I would have played college basketball maybe, but
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah, and then going to your high school practices, you also had a legendary coach in Coach Backmas.
Hmm.
I've never had the chance to play for him or even see him run a practice or anything. I've seen him in games and I know I've heard stories and yada yada, but
Hmm.
tell me a little bit about him behind the scenes. What is he like as a coach?
He runs the best program that I've ever seen. The culture there is unreal. Guys run through a wall for him. I think his motivation is because he has a good balance there, right? If you're not doing something you should be doing, he'll definitely tell you. But he also, by the time we were seniors, and he didn't harp on us too much. He's fun to be around, and just made sure and pushed you the right way. He's yeah, just motivationally, he's just awesome. I mean, guys love playing for him. Um, yeah, he just could run a team better than anybody I've seen or been around.
Mm.
Like it's all the little things, man. Like this chants in the hallway. He's got all these crazy sayings and stuff he's doing all the time. Weird stuff down to white socks and jocks and how you cut your hair, all that stuff. I just think that those little things add up.
Hmm. Are you taking a lot of the things that you learned from him into your Tumwater program?
Um, yes and no. I'm not, me, I'm not trying to copy anybody, but definitely trying to borrow things that make sense.
Yeah.
I don't have white socks and all that jazz, but just how to build how I guess more importantly how important culture is to building a program. It's like way more important than X's and O's and all that stuff. I mean, you got to lead with culture, and then just building the youth program. Probably two things from my Mark Morris stuff that really stick out.
I have a theory that is based on zero scientific evidence or anything, but I think Bagmas is gonna coach till he's like 75 at Mark Morris.
I think so too. I think he should. I talked to him about that not too long ago. It's like, man, you got to go after like the all-time wins record. Like, go.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. He doesn't look like he looks younger now than when I played for him. I mean,
Oh yeah. And he's still got just as much energy. I hear every offseason, oh, this upcoming year is his last year, and it's been like that for the last like 10 years. It feels like I think he's just gonna go till he's 75 and just can't do it.
he did.
Do you have any funny Bagman stories? Or I mean, you came in as a freshman and your core group was on varsity, right? Like you, Mickey.
Yeah. So there was like 6 seniors maybe, and Ryan Campbell was an important part of that group as well. And then there was a 4 of us on varsity as freshmen. We swung, but we played. I started a game. We'd always play a little bit, I think. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really good group. Evan Kirkpatrick, Mike Allen, Steve Trotter, Doug Dietz, Bruce Baker.
What was the best Mark Morris team that you were on? Was it your senior year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the year that you guys beat Beach and all
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the best win of your career?
Like college included and all that stuff?
No, just high school.
Yeah, that was yeah, probably. I mean, that year was Washington Hoops was super good. I mean, if anybody wants to go look up 2005 graduating seniors, it's like 20 something guys went D1, and we played Kentwood, who got second 4A. We beat Bethel in the summer, and they got first in 4A. So the only person, team we really lost to was at O'Day in the state championship, and I think we could have had them in certain scenarios. But yeah, I was just big because, Rainier Beach was Rainier Beach. Terrence Williams, everyone's talking about him, and we played awesome. I think we ended up winning by like 10 or 12. So we started off getting dunked on. I remember it was we were playing like a 2-3 zone, and they threw a lob to him on the backside, and they're getting all hype and whatnot, but we just plugged away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that probably, yeah. I mean, definitely the most memorable.
Yeah.
I was standing up on the rails telling everybody I told you. I was hooting and hollering, man. Yeah, for sure.
Growing up, I used to go to the state tournament every year just for fun, and go watch those Rainier Beach teams. Nate Robinson and the Stewart or the Lodrick and Roderick Stewart twins, and
Yep.
so when you guys won that game, it kind of blew my mind because I was just a young at that point. I was probably like maybe a freshman or eighth grader,
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought a team from Longview has no chance against Rainier Beach.
Right.
That was pretty cool. I just remember some pictures coming out of that game. I remember there was one of Terrence crying, which
Yep.
was a bummer, and then Mickey, hooting and
Yep.
hollering to the crowd. It was
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
How'd the title game go? I honestly don't remember.
We were up by like 4 at half. I think 4 games in 4 days got to us. I think our energy started slipping quite a bit. I mean, they had Mitch Johnson, who played at Stanford. Nate McMillan's son played at Arizona State. Connor Mullen went to Cornell, I think. And then they had, who was that other? They had one more big, I think, that played D1 as well. We were there. I just think we ran out of steam a little bit, especially that second half. I remember my legs getting pretty tight for sure. I haven't watched that game since, so I have no idea really. It's pretty bitter.
Yeah.
But I remember, Mitch Johnson, I remember playing very, very well. And we ended up playing him at Stanford a bit later, and he was almost better as a senior in high school, I felt. But anyways, yeah, he has an assist record at Stanford, played with the Lopez twins.
Is that one of those games that still haunts you?
Yeah, if I could get that one back, man. I'm the king of seconds. I mean, I got second for the state championship. I got second. We won the Big Sky and got second to go to the tournament. My sophomore year, got second to go to the tournament. My junior year, got second to go to the NCAA tournament. So senior year, broke my foot, didn't play the last 9 games. But my biggest win is probably Hoop Fest. I mean, I got second in Hoop Fest. I don't know how many times too. So but it's all right, man. Yeah, it's all good. But no, if I could have got over that hump for that state, if I could go back, it's pretty close between toss up being going to the NCAA tournament and that state championship. But I think I'd pick the state championship. You have that forever, hung up in your high school forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at that time when you're in high school, I remember you were telling me you were traveling like 2 hours to go play on an AAU team, right, in Seattle?
Yep. Emerald City.
It was kind of just a different time as far as like AAU goes.
Yep.
Like how many teams do you think there even were in Washington?
I don't know. In Washington, probably 5. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
There was a Portland Ice team that's like Chris Hutton and some folks played on. But no, I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about AAU. Roosevelt's the one who told me. Ed Peppel was involved with Emerald City, and it was my junior year at state tournament, and he was sitting up in the stands watching, and Roosevelt goes, "You need to go ask him about his AAU program." And I was super shy, and I would not do it. And Rose got like pissed. And he's like, I don't know if he said like, "I'm not gonna work you out anymore," or "I'm not gonna whatever unless you go talk to him." And I ended up going and talking to him. And then actually, I think it was my sophomore year. And then we ended up playing Mercer. And then I went up there and tried out, didn't make it. And then we ended up playing, we played Mercer Island in a state tournament. I had like 18 points in the first half. And he got in touch with Bacchus after that and said I should go play for him. And I only made the second team. So I didn't make the first team.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Looking back.
We were better than the first team, so.
Was that really a big part of you getting to NAU?
That was everything.
Was it?
Yep. So they wouldn't have known who I was. So I played with Jason Briggs on that second team. And Jason went to Olympia, and Kelly Golob told Mike Adris that he should go watch Jason Briggs because he heard he was pretty good. And then when they came and watched our team play, Mike Adris liked me. And that summer, I played really, really well. I mean, I led the state in scoring for AAU. I had like 26 a game or 27 a game or something like that. So, and my team did awesome. We made it to the Final Four in Vegas.
Wow.
I think we lost to Illinois Wolves with Bobby Frazier, who went to North Carolina. I don't know if you remember him, but
yeah,
it was crazy. All the coaches, it was packed, and all the big coaches just sitting there on the sideline. And I didn't even know what was going on, man. I was just
Yeah.
hooping. I didn't know how any of this worked. It was weird. I was just hooping. And I just remember more coaches coming. And by like the end of it, I was like, and looking back on it, it was like made it super far on that thing. And, I played really well. So yeah, when I came home, they offered me a scholarship. We played in Vegas and then LA. When I came home, he offered me a scholarship there on the spot. And I was getting recruited by BYU and like at that point, Seattle Pacific and St. Martin's.
So were those other three schools recruiting you based off Mark Morris or based off AAU?
Well, BYU was funny because they came off of Mark Morris, and I was like, "How'd you even hear about me?" And they're like, "Oh, we know all Mormons that play basketball are good." Like they got a directory somewhere, I think. So um, no, so they were recruiting me beforehand, but none of these other ones popped up. Like St. Martin's wasn't even that interested in me until they found out I had a D1 offer, and then they kind of got on board.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, no, it was all from that summer. So.
Man, it wasn't long ago, but it was such a different time.
Oh, it was crazy different.
Like
You
no
got
social
all the AAU
media.
programs now, and even the tournaments themselves. There was like one, maybe two tournaments then. Like that was it. There wasn't all these things, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, today, if Josh Wilson was growing up in today's day, you'd be on an AAU team your whole high school career.
yeah,
You every offer that you had would be posted online, so everyone else would see it. It would
yeah,
start buzz. I mean, it would just be crazy. You'd have mixtapes. You'd have, crazy stuff going viral almost.
yeah.
So take me back to the recruitment days. Like, how did you end up where you ended up?
I had no idea about these things. My goal was D1, right? Like I was D1 or bust. I wouldn't have taken a D2 offer. I would have gone to LCC and then gone D1 or tried to or whatever, and then maybe panned out. But um, so I didn't know. I thought NAU's D1, BYU's D1, like whatever. I had a scholarship offer. He said I wanted to play football, and he said it'd honor my scholarship if I got hurt. And they just really wanted me, and so I committed early. I committed in the fall. I think if I obviously the year we had and the year I had my senior year, I maybe would have gone a little bit higher, but I didn't even know what was higher. I thought D1 was D1. I didn't know. Maybe
Yeah.
Duke, North Carolina, obviously, but the difference between BYU and NAU, I didn't care. I didn't didn't
Yeah.
even know. So
Did you go on a visit?
yeah, yep,
And what was
yep.
that?
I went down there. I went on a visit, and you know, I was looking for reasons to like it too. So it was the NAU. I love NAU. It's fantastic. So I liked it. I was supposed to have a visit for BYU like 2 weeks later, and I didn't go on that visit. I always thought it was weird because the head coach never talked to me. It was always the assistant.
Yeah.
But I think it's because he knew he was leaving. They said I was their number one guy for point guard, and then but the head coach never talked to me, so I just didn't think they were that interested. But the coach left and went to Fresno State, and then the assistant who was recruiting me got the head coaching job. So I just didn't think they were that serious, so I never ended up going on that recruiting trip to BYU.
Hmm. So you end up going to NAU. What was your experience there like once you were there?
Oh man, freshman year, I mean you're however many miles away from home, like your friends are all gone.
Hmm.
Trying, you're making new friends and whatnot, and it's like the hardest ever. I mean, my coach, I've talked to you several times about him, but he was a pretty tough guy to play for, and I just remember the game being like crazy fast and everybody's huge, and he's yelling at me every time I turn the ball over. There's a lot being that far away from home with just a lot of feelings.
Yeah. Did you think you fit in basketball wise, skill wise,
Yeah, I mean, um,
your first
I
year?
didn't I didn't care. Like I didn't. I always thought I'd probably fit in anywhere with anybody I played just because I was pretty competitive and I just played hard. So I didn't think about that, to be honest. I just went after it, and I just remember thinking how fast everybody was running and how fast everything was.
Yeah.
But skill set wise, I mean, I didn't start my first two games, and I started my third game as a freshman and started every game after that. So till I broke my foot or whatnot. But yeah, no, it was and that I never played. I was always backup point guard to Mickey, so it was interesting making that point guard shift and then figuring out like I could really pass.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could pass, but running a team, and I just learned a lot from Mickey, and it just seamlessly kind of fit in there. I
Yeah.
remember, you're just trying to go for a spot on the team, and you want to make sure you play. And I remember like the coaches like tallying up my assists and like the first pregame stuff and whatnot, and they were pretty surprised. I'd have like 8, 9 assists and whatnot, and play 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And so I just kind of developed into a completely different player than I was in high school.
Right. Yeah, I've always thought about that. I'd be curious if you went back and let's say Mickey went to Arlong or something and you were the point guard at Mark Morris. I wonder if that would have changed one, your whole game, but two, where you would have ended up being a 6'2" point guard versus like at that time at Mark Morris. I mean, you did point guard stuff, but
Yeah,
you were technically on this stat sheet, the two guard probably,
yeah.
so
And I always thought of myself as like a shooter scorer, like not pure point guard.
yeah. Yeah. And then the rest of your career you're basically a point guard.
Yeah, pure
I
point guard.
mean, basketball's kind of positionless now, but I would imagine, during that point in college, they said, "Hey, you're the point guard, you're the wing." Yeah, I've always thought about that. That's something. I'm curious what would have happened if you would have been point guard in high school, if you would have been like a Pac-12 guy or,
Mm.
something like
Like
that.
now, I think I was in a little Longview where nobody went and saw. You know what I mean? I caught on real late. Um, Pac-12. Well, it depends on where in the Pac-12, but yeah, I played against all those dudes, and I think I could have I could have transferred probably because I was what, ninth in the nation in assists my freshman year. I probably could have transferred almost anywhere,
Mm,
but I also had a lot of turnovers. But
that's a
so
trick.
I just liked my group of guys. I always kind of thought of that, but I don't know, man. Playing behind Mickey, I don't think I wouldn't have been that good of a point guard, compared to what I learned from him and his dad. I mean, all like what I stole from him was all sorts of different stuff. So I don't while the ability might have been there, I don't think I don't know the savvy, I guess, or whatnot that ended up helping me out through college.
Yeah. So senior year, you break your foot in conference play,
At Eastern, yep.
and that kind of derails the rest of this.
My senior year was awful. Um, I rolled my ankle against North Dakota State really bad, and I'm a meathead, and I played on it, and like threw off my hips, and I got iliopsoas tendonitis, and so I could barely like extend my legs, and I was still playing through all that. Like I just got not very good in a hurry. I averaged like 9 a game, but and I was still leading the league in assists, but I wasn't myself like at all, not what I hoped for my senior year. And then broke my foot with like what 9 or 10 games to go. I broke my foot. I think that was just my body telling me to chill out. So because I play more minutes than anybody in NAU history. I played my last 9 games, so I was just like 34 minutes a game for 3 years. Just caught up with me, I think. And I think strength training stuff nowadays is a lot different. I also got way too heavy lifting weights,
Yeah.
trying to beat everybody in the weight room. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. It seems like everyone's going light now,
Yeah,
like getting light, being really, flexible and, um, yeah, it's a different kind of strength and agility.
yeah. I wish I could have done that. I think it would have turned out a lot. That's my biggest regret as my body, like not focusing on that a lot more and doing the right things. Rose told me that too, man. He told me, you're getting too heavy. You need to thin out. You need to do this and that. And I'm just like, some guy next to you is benching more than you, and you get pissed off, that kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I shouldn't have got as big as I did. Yeah, it's a lot different now. I think they're a lot smarter about it, like the core strength and flexibility and all that stuff. It's good.
Yeah, for sure. We always talked about that when we were doing root stuff, trying
Mm-hmm.
to incorporate different things like that. But so what happens next? You break your foot, then what?
I broke my foot. Um, That was in early February, late January, something like that. And I broke the fifth metatarsal, or whatever they call it, on the outside of my foot, so it doesn't have very much blood flow. So they were debating on whether I should have surgery or not. Didn't think if you don't have to have surgery, they always want you to kind of avoid it. So I didn't have it. Took like 3 months for it to heal. Did all the I only had like 2 classes, and they're like both online. Like I wasn't doing hardly anything at NAU at that point. I was fairly depressed, like missing out on hoops. But came home. I worked out in the pool at Mark Morris for a long time, like jogging, just trying to stay in shape to go overseas. But I got my cast off. Actually, no, that's not true. That was before that. I waited or whatever. I got healed, got cleared to play, and then I broke my foot in a 3-on-3 tournament at Mark Morris again. And I was supposed to have a tryout with the Sixers and Nets like 2 weeks later. So I got sent back, and I had the surgery, had the screw put through my foot, and that's when I got the water cast, so I was able to like work out. But I didn't get cleared, and I was trying to play overseas that whole time. And you're sending all your stuff out to everybody, trying to get them to sign you, and no one's writing back to me or anything. I have an agent working for me, but I'm just, me, I'm not going to sit on my butt and wait, let somebody else just do the work. So I was emailing everybody I possibly could, and no one's getting back to me. So I finally just made up my own scouting service, called it Moxie Scouting Services, and said, hey, I got a client, Josh Wilson, point guard, yada yada. And then I started getting all these responses back. That's how I got my first job. But I went, I think I got over there like September 15th, and I got my cast off like September 1st. It was nuts. And I wore one of those volleyball, plastic ankle braces where you couldn't roll your ankle.
Yeah.
Because I just kept rolling. After I started working out the roads, I rolled my ankle with nobody around me. Both ankles too. It was weird. Like the strength went away, and so I just constantly rolled my ankle. So I wore those volleyball things and strapped them up and flew over to Germany and somehow made it.
That's a pretty amazing story. The fake scouting service to get some attention.
I still get emails this day sometimes, Moxie Scouting Services. Yeah, I don't know, man.
How do you even think of that?
I don't know. I was just tired of it. I was tired of nobody like listening to me and not getting any response at all. And I just kind of, I don't know. I've got a GoDaddy, I think, domain, and made up some email and started firing it off.
That's amazing.
I don't know.
Do you think anything could have happened with those NBA tryouts, or do you think it was kind of like a invite, but that's about it?
I got played during pretty much like an awful time because it was the lockout, and then it was also a financial downturn, so folks were having trouble like paying guys and whatnot. So what it was supposed to be, I was supposed to be the point guard for a combined like Sixers Nets team or something like that, or the point guard or backup point guard, one of the point guards. I at that point was not very. I didn't. Maybe if I wouldn't have got hurt and all that other stuff, I could have gone, because I think I could compete with most folks. But
it was like a D-League team.
No, it was the summer league team.
Oh, okay.
It was a summer league team, yeah. And so I don't know. I probably would have done fine. Like if I was 100% healthy, I think I would have done fine. I never thought I'd be like a star in the NBA, but my dream was like a third string point guard, come in there and make some passes, hit some open shots, and then go sit my butt back down.
Yeah.
Still be able to go eat at restaurants.
Yeah. And, okay. In what world does Josh get to the NBA? Like what would have had to gone differently to make that happen?
I think like I talked about with my body, like if I would have trained the correct way. I played against all sorts of NBA guys, and my competitiveness is there. I think my shooting ability is there. But I just would have had to worked on my body a lot more. Not that I wasn't athletic or anything, but I could have got much more athletic, working on the correct things. Like that, and then maybe, if you get a little more hype going somewhere else, I don't know. I don't know. Then overseas wise, I started getting my game back pretty good. But life happens. kids and all that stuff, and things go different ways, and there you go. But I don't know. I always told everybody I was going to go to the NBA, but fell short. But I'm still okay with it, I guess. I still think like, I'm gonna work out really hard and
Yeah.
make a game of it. But yeah, right.
Yeah, I think everything worked out just fine.
Yeah.
How many years were you overseas?
3.
Okay. So you played where?
Germany, Hungary, and Finland.
And how were those experiences? Were they all the same, all different?
All different. Yeah. Germany, I played in a lower league. Well, middle league, the Pro B league. I had a great experience. I was able to get Steve on my team like halfway through the year, Steve Sir. I love my team. Germany's super legit. Pay on time. Don't have to worry about anything. Apartment, car, like all good. I was there by myself. Dominique didn't come over with me then. She was at home. So I was just kind of basketball bum, man. I just worked out and tried to save as much money as I could. So, but Germany, I had great experiences in Germany. Loved the people. It was awesome. Hungary is great too, but very different. Basketball style is different. It's really physical. That's why I think I kind of excelled in Hungary, because it was pretty physical ball. A lot different country. The gap and wealth is a lot different over there. Folks are struggling. There's some folks that are doing pretty well, but super cheap to live there. The food was super cheap. Get a whole pizza for like $2.
Man.
It was awesome. Yeah, for sure. They paid me late every month though, and that kind of warned us a little bit being over there. I had Ray over there, which was, I would never do that again. I mean, it was great. Like, it was fine, right? But I don't know what I was thinking. Thought we didn't even have a doctor pick till like 32 weeks, 33 weeks in, and then we decided to make the 2-hour trip to Budapest. But yeah, he was born in a private hospital. It was $2,000 flat for an emergency C-section. Fed us for 4 days. It was nuts.
That's what was Dominique thinking that whole time? Was she enjoying the experience, or was she ready to go?
Great. Yeah. I mean, she got a little. I mean, you got to think you're in the apartment like however many hours of the day, and you don't really have friends. So we go on walks. It's kind of like a lot like quarantine, to be honest. Like, that's kind of what you feel like.
Yeah.
But you get out and you go on walks, and we get in the car and we drive everywhere we could, any chance we got. So that was great. The travel was great. I just, I don't. The mental toughness for her to do that and just be like, okay, like it's unfathomable. I just couldn't. Looking back on that, man, like 23 years old, silly.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned driving everywhere. Is that the place that you got into the wreck?
Yeah. Yep. That was in my second year. I hit a Hungarian red stag with my Skoda car. Yeah. Going 74. It's nuts.
So what happened?
So we went to Budapest. Well, that's what we did for fun. They had all the American food there. We could catch a movie, and Budapest is beautiful. So one time we went to, it was in the fall, we went to Budapest, had a weekend off or whatnot, and we randomly saw my teammate. He's like a 6'5" dude. We just saw him in the mall at Budapest. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a couple million at least live in Budapest, like 5 different malls, right? And you randomly see your teammate at a mall. And he was like, oh, I'm going to take the train back. I'm like, no, you can ride with us. So he ends up sitting in the front, and Dominique used to not wear a seatbelt sometimes. And I get kind of upset by it. But so she sat in the back. So we go get off the main freeway, and we turn onto this country road, right when the sun's going down. And this big Hungarian red stag, it's like an elk. It's like 12 point, like massive animal, like a horse, just starts walking across the road, and everybody else is asleep. And, I just slam on my brakes, and the thing is so big, it takes off both mirrors on either side and bends the roof back behind my head. And glass, I could just feel, the glass bursting and that cold just hitting my face. And, hop out, trying to see if everybody's okay. I got blood running down my face. I don't know if it's my blood, the deer's blood. I take off my shirt, I tie it around my head, and all the kids are okay. Cam had glass like down her back and into her underwear. Dominic wasn't wearing her seatbelt in the back seat and like hit her face on the front seat and burned up her face a bit. Ray was 9 months old or something like that. Had deer crap and intestines all down the side of his car seat, just missed him. And my teammate up front, he had glass and stuff all in his face. I'm sure he's glad he took that ride. And this big animal just got a gash on the side of its body. It didn't like blow it up or anything. It was just on the side, like breathing. And I'm just like terrified to deer of this day. Like I did the slow motion of that, just stuck in my head. Like it was massive. But if it was any smaller, I don't think I would have made it. I mean, it was so big it wouldn't fit through the windshield.
Man.
So
yeah, that's crazy. In that split second, did you think, oh no, someone's dead?
Well, it was a 2-lane road, like a West Side Highway or something, right? And off to the right is like a ditch, a pretty drop down ditch into a field. And so I knew I couldn't go like swerve to the right until the last oncoming traffic. So it's like I remember thinking in driver safety class, I don't know if you remember this stuff, they just said just hit it, don't swerve, just hit it. And I just tried to stop but I hit it going pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I was really terrified for Cameron in the middle seat because there's like the mirror and stuff, like everything but Cam didn't have a scratch on her. There's deer ticks crawling all over us. Awful.
That's crazy. So then you get in a wreck. What do you do?
We got in a Hungarian ambulance and drove the 35 minutes to the hospital. Dominique just had that. She was fine. Both the kids, nothing, not a thing. So they went home, and I had to stay there and go through all the concussion tests and all that stuff. In Hungary, the deers or elk or whatever, this private property. So they said I had to pay up to like $5,000 for killing a deer.
Man.
Luckily, there were some people who knew we were American and knew we didn't know the rules, so they like helped us with the process. I called the owner and he came and got the animal and I think saved the meat.
So you didn't end up having to pay?
Well, it just got real sketchy in a hurry. So I ended up playing like 3 days later and played one of the bigger teams and had a really good game and played for a few months after that for sure. But then like all this stuff started coming back where they said I had to pay for the car because there was the insurance wouldn't cover it because there was a deer warning sign 3 kilometers back. They said I had to pay for my teammates' medical bills. But the kicker for me and why we ended up leaving was they tried suspending my license for 3 months, and I wasn't going to be overseas with my families and not being able to drive. Yeah. Like I didn't do anything wrong. I was driving down the road at the speed limit.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
I remember you and I drove to Vegas for that Roots tournament with Michael Pierce and Nate Solomon, and from Longview to Vegas, we stopped at NAU and did Grand Canyon and a few other things. And the whole way there, I remember when it was nighttime, you were like on alert.
Yeah, man, my car's got deer whistles on them now. Trying to keep them away. I just see a brown bush, I flinch. Like, yeah, no.
We would try to doze off, and you'd wake all 3 of us up just to keep our eyes on the surrounding woods.
Awful. Yeah, that was a fun drive though. It was a good trip.
Oh man, it's one of the highlights of my life. I mean, at the time, you want to do anything but sit in a car, but afterwards, the memories were just fantastic.
Yeah, we drive like 23 hours straight.
Both ways, it was one day. We made it from Longview to NAU in one day, and then we made it from Vegas to Longview in one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy, and you drove the whole way both ways.
Yeah, I like those trips. It's like a challenge.
Okay, so when did you know you were done?
I knew I was done in Finland when they didn't pay me for 2 months. And we already had that experience in Hungary. And it just wasn't right for my family. once, and yeah, they didn't pay me for 2 months in Finland. And then I had already bought the plane ticket, or we had the plane ticket from Hungary to the U.S. And Dominic was going to just get on that plane, and then it's the team's responsibility to pay for these flights. And Dominic was supposed to Finland was supposed to just pay for her to go to Hungary and catch that flight. So it's like super cheap flight, and it was like 3 weeks before the flight. They're like, oh yeah, we got you. You know, I'm like, all right, don't have the plane tickets yet. And this kept going on week after week, and then it was like a day before, and they told me, oh yeah, we'll get it to you, and they still haven't paid me for 2 months. And so I said, and they hadn't paid anybody on the team, and just got dumb. So I bought a flight for my whole family to go to Hungary, and we left, and that's how my career ended. Pretty awful. I don't even I remember my last game, but like definitely, not what you wanted it to be. Like I didn't know that was my last game.
Yeah. So the business of it all pretty much
Yeah, overseas is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. You got to deal with some stuff. I think some people come out and have great organizations and they don't need to worry about it, but there's some things that happen over there, so it's not all what it's cracked up to be for the most part. I mean, it's great traveling, it's great seeing stuff, but there's a whole other mental side to it that people don't know about.
Yeah.
And I had some interesting experiences for sure.
If there was, like a D League or G League team that paid you well enough and was, in Washington or Oregon, do you think you would have played for many more years?
Oh yeah.
If the business wasn't a problem.
Oh yeah. If I could have made a living in the U.S. playing. Yeah, I just had to. We were all willing to go back. My rules were I needed to get paid. I needed an improvement in my pay, and I needed to go to a legit country that, and a legit team that Finland's a legit country, but for whatever reason I just had bad luck with that team.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get in that scenario again, and I ended up getting an offer in Romania for the price I wanted, but I just didn't want to bring everybody to Romania, so I started mowing lawns.
For those that don't know, what are some guys getting paid overseas? Like what could, like, if kids graduating college and he wants to go play overseas, like what could he look forward to?
Yeah, it's different, drastically different based on the level, of course, but and it could be a lot different now. I'm sure because I played coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, so guys were getting paid double for my job, previously. So I mean, my first year I made like $1,000 a month in Germany. It's not all that bad because they pay for everything else, but it's not. I mean, come on, it's not anything great. I used to make more money probably collecting the plastic bottles and putting them in there when they give you 25 cents back. I paid for my engagement ring for Dominique.
Really?
Yeah, I'd go after the game and everybody would leave their water bottles. And I'd just stuff my bag full of them, and I'd go and cash them in, and I made more money on that probably than anything else. But so that was like $1,000 a month. And then in Hungary, I think my first contract in Hungary was like 3,500 or 4,000 a month. I think I ended up getting like 4,500 or 5,000 a month or something in my second year in Hungary and in Finland.
That's such a difference from the first year or from the first place.
Yeah, for sure. So, but there's guys saying that's in that. I would say that Pro B League in Germany, I don't think anybody would have made more than like $3,000 a month. Like, no way. But in the other levels of Germany, guys are making really good money in like the BBL top league. And then in Hungary, there's teams they were paying guys real well. Like if you're a big guy and playing on one of the top teams, you're probably getting like 25,000 a month or something like that. But then as like you get into, those higher leagues, I mean, they sign contracts for $1 million for sure. So you have every single kind of level. Like you have guys playing for $500 a month and basically, food and a car. Like that's all they're playing for, just to try and work up the ranks. And then you have, just different scenarios with everywhere in between. And each country is a lot different. So you have to weigh in. Like Hungary might pay you more, but then they're going to pay you late, and then you don't have like the benefits of like a Germany where you don't have to worry about medical. you get a tax return because the taxes that are paid on your behalf. Like all sorts of things up and down that you have to think about.
Was the D League a bad option coming out of
D,
college?
D League paid awful back then. It was like 19,000 for the whole year. Not even that. I think it was like 14,000 or something for the whole year. So you can make, yeah, way more playing overseas. So it wasn't even close.
How long were the seasons overseas?
Again, depending on where you were, but like 9 months. I'd say 7 to 9 months.
And then you'd come home to Longview the rest of the time
Mm-hmm.
and work while you were home also.
Mow lawns, yep.
Nice, nice.
Play open gym against Scotty P.
Yeah, that was a blast. We went to Classic and I did
Yep.
what would you call that? What did we do that day?
Which one?
We were working on like cleaning out a house.
Oh, yeah, working on foreclosed homes.
There we go.
Yep, yep,
That was a fun day.
yep.
Okay, so what do you think the best achievement of your basketball career was, or what are you most proud of looking back on?
Man, I don't know. Probably just doing what I said I was gonna do. You know, everybody, you get doubters all along the way, and that I never let that get to me. And I'll make you a list of things, and you just check the box off, right? Each one. I guess that's what I'm most proud of. Yeah, probably my assists at NU, morphing into like a pure point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And learning that like I love that way more than scoring a million points. I would way rather be a pure point guard and just pass the ball to people who can really score. I loved it. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I with the guys I played with. So making it through college, like I mean, with how tough that was.
Yeah.
I mean, guys quit every year, and in fact, I got through all 4 years of that, and we did well too. Won a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you still feel this way, but you and I would always talk about when we were working at Roots that you couldn't pay me $1 million to go.
Couldn't pay me $5 million to do what I did again. You couldn't pay me $10 million to do what I did it again. Couldn't pay me anything, and I wouldn't say I'm glad I went through it, and I wouldn't change it for anything, but I would never, ever do that again. Never.
And what are you? And what I was talking about was like just the grind of like the conditioning,
It wasn't that. I could do the grind.
Yeah.
It was the mental side of it that just constantly every day, just being called every name in the book, and that mental, like, am I going crazy here? Like, is this normal? And then just trying your best not to get broke. I never wanted to get broke. Never. Like, can't break me. Like, that was my biggest thing. Like, and it just wears on you.
Yeah.
Really a grind for sure.
Well, we were talking about two totally different things then, because I was just talking about I just didn't want to run anymore.
Oh, no, yeah. We run for like 3 hours after practice. I remember, barely being able to move and just running. And I could do that side of it. That's not it,
I was treated pretty well in college, so I have no complaint from that side of things.
Yeah. I mean, I play a lot. I was happy about that, but it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, I have some random questions I want to throw at you.
Okay.
From me looking at you as a player, you're really fundamental driven. And then, even in your coaching, when I was watching you at Roots, you were really driven on fundamentals. You were really driven on like having equal ability in both hands. Like, are those Roosevelt things?
Yeah. Yeah. Roosevelt, Mike Polis, my dad, like
Backamus.
Yeah. All the above, but I just give more credit to Roosevelt probably than a lot of folks. But I remember I thought I was pretty good in the senior year, I had my scholarship and yada yada, and a fairly confident person. And Roosevelt, like, for whatever reason, had me pass like with my left hand, and I couldn't do it. It was just like this limp noodle, like just awful pass. I was just pissed. you know, and I guess that just sticks with me. Like, here I am thinking I'm this really good Division I player, and I can't even pass with my left hand.
Yeah.
You know, so it didn't take long, but you just beat it over and over again. I guess that just sticks with me. And I don't know, you remember like that feeling of your left hand being kind of weak and you didn't want to go left.
Oh yeah.
And I just, as a point guard playing against UNLV and they're pushing your left hand and you just don't feel confident in your left, it's like the worst feeling in the world because you know you're going to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
So I guess that feeling sticks with me pretty hard.
Yeah. It's funny because I used to, when I first started working at Roots with you, I would be putting kids through workouts that I couldn't do. And so I would have to describe it based on what I saw you do, but I couldn't like show them. And then so it was kind of pissing me off. And so like we would be doing 2-ball drills and I couldn't do the drills. And now, you know, just after doing Roots for 5 years, I'm 1,000 times a better ball handler than I
Right.
was when I played in college. It's frustrating.
Yeah. So am I. I'm a better ball handler than I ever been. Same with shooter. I'm a better shooter than I've ever been.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's kind of a bummer looking back that I didn't do these things
Mm-hmm.
still in my career, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's interesting. What are some of your big memories from, you know, or not even that. Well, why did you want to start Roots to begin with?
I started Roots because what Roosevelt did for me, did it for free.
Yeah.
6 in the morning. I mean, that's crazy, right? I just felt like I owed it to the world to start Roots. I mean, I would have liked it to have been my main thing, right? The only thing that you do and can provide for a family with and yada yada, but that wasn't necessarily it. I mean, I just felt I owed it to like I just owed it to the world to do what Rose did for me and just pay it forward. You know, it's just the rule of thumb, right? And I hope all the guys that we've always trained and whatnot, I hope they just pay it forward because yeah, it's just and then what a waste, right? To learn all that stuff, to experience everything that you have and not try and pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, those are my two biggest motivations, I guess.
Yeah. What are your some of your favorite memories from starting Roots and working there?
Yeah, all the kids,
Yeah.
how much better they got. I mean, the shot transformations,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing kids get confident in themselves. You know, there's a million other things. You know, stuff with you too. I mean, I don't know if people know the grind that Roots is and was.
Yeah.
You know, 14 hours a day in the gym doing individual workouts. Just yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some of the best memories. I love it. I love thinking back, and anytime I drive by that warehouse, I get like a special feeling in my
Yep.
stomach. But yeah, speaking of the shooting, to me, you're the best shooting coach I've ever been around. Um, you know, I've learned so much. Again, it was after my career, so it was frustrating, but learned so much about these little techniques and tips that really
Mm-hmm.
make such a big difference. And you're stubborn as a coach. You're not going to let them, you know,
Yeah.
waver from what you know is correct.
Everyone's always told me my whole life how stubborn I was. I think in
Yeah.
shooting it kind of pays off a little bit.
Can you talk about like, you know, the shooting technique and, you know, your coaching in it and what you believe in?
Yeah, shooting's great. It's like life. Like it's life in a nutshell, right? Like you have to have balance, thinking that you know better, right? Like the constant battle of kids thinking, well, it feels funny. Like when does the right thing feel perfect right from the start? Like it just doesn't happen, right? So I'm keeping things simple. Less is more. Keeping things straight. Just not having anything outside kind of, you know, those thumb pushes, like just that weird stuff, right? Keep things simple, keep it tight, um, keep it, and then you have to be smooth at all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I think shooting is like the simplest thing in the world that people just overcomplicate. And again, that's like life, right? People just overcomplicate everything.
How can a parent, you know, raise their kid to shoot the right way? What are some things they can do early on?
Yeah, I'm going through the process now. I wish I'd videotape my kids more, of course, but uh, shooting on a small hoop. Um, Ray's and he's third grade, gonna be fourth, so he played on a big hoop this year, so I'm a little bit of a hypocrite that way. But I think not letting them develop the habits that come from shooting from on too big of a hoop or too far away. So that's like your thumb pushes, your
Hmm.
two hand pushes, your twists and turns. There's a lot of bad habits that come from that. So I would say uh, not letting them touch the ball, like no two hands of any kind, like because that really screws folks up.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, starting close.
What are some of the training things that you've seen over the past 7, 8 years that you love, and some of the ones that you're like, gotta stay away from that?
You're so much better at this than me though, because I'm super stubborn and I don't even like really look at the outside perspective. Like you'll
Yeah,
send me stuff, like what do
yeah,
you think of this? I don't I don't really I'm kind of operating more off of like my own experience. I should because I changed my shot about a million times and Rose helped me out, so I'm really stuck on my ways. But like there's some awful stuff out there that you're fully aware of, like the twists, the bobs,
yeah.
like shooting above your head to be like Larry Bird. Like there's a lot of awful stuff out there. I don't think people understand it. It's really interesting. I don't know how they can take that from it. Like the only thing I slightly understand is like bobbing it a little bit if you're still straight, because there's like a rhythm to it, and you kind of get that flow when you're in a game sometimes, anyways. But you got to see, is the trade-off from a bob and that rhythm worth the extra time it takes to shoot your shot? Like I don't think so. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? But I can see how it gets you into a little better rhythm. But you can do that with your legs too. So, but no, I go rounds with people all the time for sure.
Have you been able to incorporate skill development stuff into your Tumwater team coaching?
I would like to think so, and not as much as I would like. Um, I wish people. It's hard. You only have so much time, right? And you have all these things to put in. I try and lead with skill development. I always spend the first 30, 45 minutes on skill development, but I don't find it as effective as like us at Roots and like me taking, definitely not me taking one guy off and spending like time with them, and
Yeah.
breaking down the whole thing and getting it. It takes a lot longer. And then you have the spectrum of guys who listen. Some guys who hear you once and fix it, and they're so much better. And then guys that it's been like 2 years of trying to get to tweak things. But yes, I try. Sometimes I question the effectiveness of it based on the time I'm spending on it. But
Yeah.
I just love the idea of it that I'm definitely not giving up on it. No.
Yeah. It's tough. It is tough. You think before you get a team, you're like, oh, once I
Yeah.
get a team,
Oh
I'm
yeah, like you're gonna do so much different and like
gonna,
yeah. No, it's really interesting. You have to choose what you're gonna be good at, because you can't get to everything, right? You have to make a choice.
yeah.
Super tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. There's just not enough time.
No.
There's never enough time. Would you do anything differently if you were a high school kid today, knowing what you know now about basketball? Would you have a skills trainer? Would you still be going to Rose and doing, or like,
Yeah, 100, there's no way I would go to him more if that was even possible. Like absolutely. Um, I think going to the right skills trainer, yes. I don't think kids are working on their shots. I think they're working on their ball handling and yada yada. But sometimes that just doesn't translate to a game either. Um, so it depends on what you're working on and who you're working with. Um, as far as me, what I would change is I would spend a lot more time working on my body. That was the number one 100% thing that I would do. I mean, when I had Darren Talley as a track coach at Mark Morris and I did all his workouts, his speed, agility, strength stuff, my vertical went up six to probably a foot, 6 inches to a foot just from doing his workouts. So I just would have done more of that. Almost like football players do, right? Like you should be doing that for basketball too. All that core strength, all that quickness, all that speed, all that agility. I mean, think about that. Like who works on that like hard and diligently? Very few people.
Hmm.
And how much of the game is that? Think of how many dudes are in the NBA who can't shoot, dribble, or do anything, but they're like crazy athletic. And the vice versa. I guess there's a lot of people that didn't make it, but you know what I mean. Like, it's
Yeah.
just super important.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things I would have done differently if who wouldn't? There,
Yeah,
once you know what you know, it's the shooting thing would have been big for me if I
yeah,
would have known like Roosevelt or you back then. I was kind of just going off what felt right, you know.
yeah. I could have turned you into a heck of a player, man, for sure. I mean, because you have that. I don't hire people like you. I hired you, and I wanted you to get involved with Roots because you would D me up, and you'd make me better every time I come home in the summer. Same with like Jure, like you had that competitiveness, and then you would have been a really really good point guard because you have the height and the length and competitiveness. Yeah, if you could have just worked on your ball handling a little more and then got your shot right, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's funny thinking back to like what I was doing in the off seasons. Like I was working hard, but just in a totally wrong way. Like,
That's the tough part is if you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, and so can you tell as many people as possible? And then people don't listen. They have to. It's like their own learned experience that you have to kind of go through. Very few people just trust somebody who's done it.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's tough. I think 50% of your time should be spent on speed, strength, agility. And if you think of like the skew of that, it's probably like what 95-5 or 90-10, maybe.
mm,
And it should be 50-50.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's good. I just got a text from my dad. The 4th of July at Lake Sacagawea is canceled.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that would have been spread some COVID-19 in a hurry.
That
not
would have
not
been, yeah.
surprised there.
There's gonna be some frustrated people. I know that.
Oh yeah, they are frustrated already for sure. Crazy times, man. Crazy times.
Yeah. So what's the goal with basketball? What's your goal? Your next goal?
That's funny that you asked that because I've like literally since watching these Jordan documentaries, I've just been thinking about it. I got a few different things going on, I guess.
Give me the
Uh,
scoop.
sorry.
Give me the inside scoop.
Okay. I'll go in categories, I guess. So roots, I just want our AAU programs to be like super high level, like, and I think we have a good opportunity to do that, like to where it's at least regionally known as like one of the best programs. So I really want to get to that. So that's going to involve a whole bunch of different things, right? But I really want to get to that level. I think we were close before, but I think we need to get back to that level. So that's my goal for roots. Tumwater wise, I want to win state championships, and I want to consistently win state championships. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be there for, you know, 16 plus years till Roosevelt's through at a minimum. So I want like 3 state championships in that time frame at least. That's my goal, is like 3. But me hooping wise, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've struggled, since I stopped playing as like somebody died. And I've really had a hard time getting motivated. I go in spurts, but I just want to be like that 50-year-old dude in the gym that like everyone's confused why he's kicking the crap out of him. Like, and I want him to talk about me when I leave. So
Hmm.
I want to get super fit and quick and just shoot the crap out of it, even if I'm just a shooter.
Yeah.
I never ever want any one of my players to ever beat me one on one, ever. And I don't want my kids to ever beat me one on one, ever. So that's like my goal right now. And I got some work to do for sure. They haven't even come close to beat me one on one yet, but uh, I'm getting pretty out of shape, or I've been working on it lately, but I'm getting out of shape. So that's my goal, man, is never lose any of my players one on one. Have people talk about me even if I'm 50 when I leave the gym, and then I don't want my kids to beat me one on one.
The one-on-one thing, I can picture it now. You're gonna be 50, and you're gonna be in the middle of a game and recognize it's going the wrong way, and you're gonna quit.
I'm not gonna quit.
You're
Oh,
gonna
you mean the one on one game? No, what'll happen is it'll be the endless game. Like, you'll get down and oh no, I'm gonna play it at 30 now. No, we're gonna play it at 50, and it's like
yeah.
that'll be the endless game. It won't be quitting. It'll be just drawn out till
Until the
the end of time.
hits.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to beat him on the mental side of that after that.
Well, I think you're already the guy that walks in the gym that people are confused about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look like I could hoop at all.
Me and my dad get the biggest crack out of that. You and Franzen will walk in a gym, and if the other team doesn't know who you are, you're the least of their worries. And then 85 points later, it's that always cracks me up when we go to City League and people don't know who you are.
It's kind of always been like that in a way, right? Like even in high school, like even when I was pretty athletic, people still didn't really expect it, but now it's like tenfold. So it's pretty funny. But I'm like just a shooter now, anyways. But yeah, I gotta get some of that back. But no, it's pretty funny. I always kind of wanted to go to like, somewhere where I could bet somebody or something. You know what I mean? In the middle of some city. And
yeah,
I don't know, but no, it's I think it's been a strength for sure. Same at Hoop Fest. I don't know. Every year, it's probably people are confused by that for sure.
I mean, the thing is, if you can shoot, as long as you can shoot, you're fine.
I mean, that's my saving grace, man. Right now is that and a mid-range pull-up, because I'm not driving to the hoop. Mid-range pull-up, tough to guard.
Do you think, when all your kids are through school, that you'll pursue like collegiate coaching or?
Yeah, I got you know what I mean, I'm a planner, so I have plan A, B, and C on that for sure. I think I'll either do it's just tough to get into college coaching, so I might try if like the opportunities. That's where I envision I would like to do, but so many variables, you don't know if it'll actually happen or not. But I could coach high school probably forever too. But I'm definitely thinking about trying to get into the college level. I just love college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I love going to campuses. I love traveling. I just would like to go travel and see all the different campuses.
Yeah.
I would love to. And I don't need to be a head coach by any means. I would love to just be a shooting coach or, be an assistant or whatever. But what I want to coach college for is what I really miss is having like a whole bunch of sets and being really analytical about things. I feel like I try that. It just doesn't go over very well for sure. But I love X's and O's, and I would love to get to a super high level for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and college is perfect for that, right? So.
How did you have to? I mean, because you coached college already. You've coached at LCC and SPSCC, and what do you have to tweak to be a high school coach? What's different?
Well, you're not recruiting, right? So you're getting kids, and you have to develop those kids, and then you have to develop that youth program. So, and I'm just now starting to see the benefits of it, right? It takes time. It's not like you're going out and recruiting a really good player. Like it just takes time to develop the kids that you have. And then put that culture in place. I think a junior college coach, man, that's super tough because you only get them for that 2 years, and then you have to just constantly recruit. So yeah, I would say you have to take what you have, right, and turn it into something great and build the culture that way, which in a way is a little bit more beautiful in my opinion. But
yeah, no, I think both are awesome in their own ways for sure. All right, man. Well, I've chirped your ear off for an hour and 15. I think that's all the questions I have.
Oh man, it's always good talking to you, Scotty P. You're my dude, man. I don't think everybody knows the sacrifices you've made for Roots and everything that you've done. I'm super thankful for you and everything that you've done. You have no idea.
Well, I wouldn't have got the chance without you.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did above and beyond what anything was ever expected of you. That's for sure. So much appreciated. So
appreciate you, brother. I want to come check out your house once this all gets cleared.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later.